Hello, this video is going out to all the beautiful women in the world. The universe gave me the thoughts and ideas to create this video to share with you my beautiful experience in having my daughter, Rosanna. Everything in our country seems, in America, like we do everything so rushed and unnatural sometimes. So I want to share with you my experiences of having my own daughter in a more natural way and doing things very natural, and create an environment with you and your child that is so peaceful and happy, and it creates a household that's happy. So I want to introduce you to Rosanna right now. Rosanna, can you come by Mommy? This is Rosanna. Come up. And she wants to say hi to everybody too. You want to wave? Hi. So we're going to share with you more of our ideas as we proceed with this video. Hello, beautiful ladies. My name is Natalie, and I'd like to give you a quick overview of what I would like to talk to you about. Like I said, the universe gave me these ideas to present to you in a video to try to help open your mind to understand how to do things more natural when you choose to have a baby. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is kind of some things to think about before you actually have a baby if you decide to do so. And I would also like to talk to you about doing a water birth, either at a hospital setting or at home. And also talk about breastfeeding, because that is natural. Our bodies are made to do that. So I want to discuss that with you. And also co-sleeping with your baby. And finally, the last thing I'd like to talk about is just some of the products that I used a lot with my own daughter that I really think you would enjoy using as well. And that'll be my presentation for you in the next few minutes. I hope you can stay and listen to my thoughts and ideas for you. My whole intention with doing this video and talking to you is that I had a wonderful experience having my daughter, and I hope in your experiences it's wonderful too. So that is my purpose for trying to teach you what I did to have a great experience, so that in hopes you take some of my ideas and incorporate them into your own life and have the same nice experiences. So the first thing in deciding whether or not to have a baby is you want to consider a few things. First of all, our society here in the United States seems so materialistic, and everybody seems like they have to have everything brand new and nice right away. And it's expensive and takes a lot of your time and energy paying for those things and maintaining those things. So in choosing whether or not to have a child, I would just like you to consider maybe having smaller things or not brand new things, so that you can take your time and really focus it on your baby and young child, especially the first 3 or 4 years of that baby's life. So to think about that a little bit before you decide whether or not to have a child, I think is very important. The other thing is, when you want to make sure that you're in good shape yourself and eating healthy and exercising before you decide to have a baby, so that the whole pregnancy goes wonderful and your delivery goes great. That was my situation. I was in good shape and I was already eating healthy and exercising in my life, so my whole pregnancy and delivery went wonderful. The other very important thing is, with women, is you cannot let fear control you. Your body was made to have a baby. So it's designed for everything to work out to make the process smooth. Yes, there are certain situations where there's high-risk pregnancies and multiples and things like that. Yes, that's a different situation. But when you're healthy and just having one baby, I believe that opens your door to have different options. In my case, I chose to have a water birth at home with the help of a midwife, and it was a wonderful experience. And I'm aware that yes, sometimes there might be other situations that create an experience that could be a little more stressful, but in my situation, everything went great. I delivered my baby Rosanna in the water, and it was so soothing. I really highly recommend doing a water birth, either in a hospital setting or at home with the help of the midwife if you can. And I encourage you to try not to let anybody induce you or break your water or give you any pain medicine or suggest a cesarean section, because there's a big business in babies being born in the hospital, because obviously the more intervention that happens to you, it costs more. So the more procedures you have done and everything, the doctor gets paid more. So please be aware that your body is designed to have a baby. It does not need a lot of the things that people in the United States try to push upon you when you're having a baby. Just please be aware of that. Now I'd like to share with you a little bit about breastfeeding. I chose to breastfeed my daughter Rosanna, which was the best decision I've ever made in my life. It's been a beautiful, bonding, loving experience. And my baby and I have been so healthy and happy because of it. Rosanna never had an ear infection in her life. She's never sucked her thumb. She never needed a pacifier or nook or whatever you call it. She's never constipated, hardly ever sick. I hardly ever had to rock her. She hardly ever had diaper rash. I never had mastitis. I never had postpartum depression and went back to my pre-baby weight about 1 month after she was born. The most important thing I want to tell you that is to listen to your own intuition, and don't listen to what other people tell you that it has to be this way or that way or do this or do that. I encourage you to listen to your own intuition. Hi, monkey. Here's Rosanna now. And let your baby's intuition guide them as well. My experience was very good, and that's why I'm here telling you this on this video right now. That if you're in this moment listening to this, you're meant to hear my message right now, and I really hope it will help you in your life to be happy and healthy as well, because I've experienced it, and I know that you can too. Okay, ladies, now for my talk on what I call the super booby basics. I want to really encourage you to breastfeed because it's so natural and so convenient. And I also realize that whoever your life partner is that you're closest to, when you have this child, you need to also have them on the same page as you so that they accept what you're doing and feel comfortable with it as well. So I really encourage you to do what's the most natural, because that's what we're made to do. So simple. So the first thing in breastfeeding is, right, when you have your baby and you begin breastfeeding, for the first week your nipples are probably going to be a little bit sore because of so much sucking from the baby, which is good because that'll help bring in your colostrum and then help bring in milk. So the first milk the baby gets is the colostrum, which is just the most important, wonderful milk, because it's filled with your immunoglobulins that have all your resistances to different diseases and things already in the milk. So that goes right into the child right away and helps them stay healthy. And also, when the other times that I found in my experience that my nipples were sore is when I was ovulating every month. I could tell for 1 or 2 days that my breasts were a little bit more tender, but it went away after I was finished ovulating. And the only other instance where I know I was a little concerned about my nipples being sore is when Rosanna started teething. But not to worry, because the baby needs and wants your milk, so they're not going to do anything major to jeopardize getting that. So in the couple of instances where Rosanna, when she was teething, was trying to latch onto me harder, not really bite, hard or anything, but in that instance, what I simply did was put her closer up into my breast more, and then she couldn't breathe as well, and so she opened her mouth and let off. And I only did that a couple of times, and she never again ever tried biting me or latching on very hard. So here's what I want to teach you about the basics of keeping a healthy breast for breastfeeding your baby. Number one, anytime you're at home, when you are comfortable, not around other people that you don't know, obviously, I encourage you, do not wear a bra, because in order to make milk, it takes a lot of blood flow. And if you're wearing a bra and it's tight on you and it's restricting that blood flow, you're not going to have as much milk. Maybe you don't realize that. That's how our bodies work. So the only time I would like to wear sports bras, so the only time I wore that was when I had to leave the house. And I've been breastfeeding Rosanna 3 years, and I still use that same policy or whatever every day, and I've had a wonderful experience breastfeeding her. So the other thing is that can happen is if you're wearing a tight constricting bra when you're feeding your baby, if you don't get all of the milk out of your breast, it can create what's called mastitis. And that's very uncomfortable because you're going to get a very tender, hurting breast that can be more quite hot and red. Excuse me. Because when you get mastitis, what's happening is the milk is not getting released out of your body, and it starts building bacteria in that milk. And the white blood cells will come to try to fight that infection. And so in order to help, if you notice your breast hurting a little bit, which I did maybe 1 or 2 times in my life of breastfeeding Rosanna, keep the baby eating off of that breast. I mean, and they can eat off the other breast as well too, but don't stop them from eating there. You have to get the milk out as much as possible, as fast as possible, and your mastitis will disappear and you will be fine. So please be aware of that. The other thing is, don't give your baby a pacifier or NUC or whatever you call it, because that greatly confuses them. They get nipple confusion when they're, used to eating the breast, and all of a sudden they get this man-made hard silicone or plastic thing in their mouth. Not good. The other thing with the pacifier issue is when your baby is asking for food and you give them something fake, they lose your trust. And even if you don't realize it in that moment, that's going to affect your child the rest of their life deep down within their emotions. So please don't do that. The other thing to take attention to is the perfumes and deodorants that you use. How would you like to be a little baby eating food and smelling a whole bunch of perfume? It's not pleasant. So please be aware of that. Another thing that I think was so helpful that I realized, because my experiences come from growing up on a dairy farm and I've milked cows most of my life, so I transfer the knowledge from what I knew about dairy cows that are very similar to human women, because we're mammals. And with a cow, in order to know how much milk was in them, you simply feel their udder. So for me, I did the same thing with me. If I wanted to know how much milk was in my breast, I simply just take my fingertips and feel them, press into them, and you'll feel how full they are by how hard the skin is, how hard your boob is, because then you know there's more milk in there. So anytime when I was feeding Rosanna, I would know right away which breast to start feeding her on, because that was the one that was fuller, and I would just feel that. So that was a great way to help me understand, okay, which boob to feed her on. So I hope that helps you as well.